One of the core beliefs of the Working Families Party is that all persons should be free and equal in a democracy, and that in our society we work to limit the advantages that wealth provides that can distort or threaten democratic norms. It's one person, one vote, not $1, one vote. Is this not a valid concern? And in the spirit of fair play, why not agree to a level playing field on campaign spending?
I made every dime that I have. I'm proud of what we've done, and I see no harm in going out and using that money to tell people about what we've accomplished and what we would do. Let me also point out that you can't have a totally fair, equal election. Some people went to better schools than others. Some people were luckier into the families they were born into. Some people are members of parties that have an enormous number of people that automatically vote that line. No matter what you do, you're always going to find differences. But I've used my money only to talk about what I would do and what I have done. That's nothing wrong with that as far as I can see. Let me also point out that rich people don't always win. Take a look at our record. Greenpoint, Williamsburg, Willets Point, West Chelsea. These are places where we really have started to do that. Good paying jobs in neighborhoods where nobody could do anything before. In the last 7 years, we've rezoned roughly a sixth of the entire city. And some kinds of projects just could not be done at prevailing wages. And what we've tried to do is to work with unions, and we've actually made some progress.
From now on, we're going to set up a system from the bottom up, so that people in their own neighborhood will start to do some real planning. We're giving you, the developer, a right, a privilege. In return for that privilege, mandatory affordable housing based upon neighborhood AMI, and mandatory conditions, union labor, and living wage standards.
We need to involve communities in the planning of their own neighborhoods. Secondly, fair growth. I think ensuring that projects that receive government subsidies, I think it's important that they create quality, good-paying jobs. We need to develop housing across the spectrum, low, moderate, and middle-income housing, but it is time to create that type of focus again. As mayor, I would work to develop a law that provides for sick leave days.
Do it by executive order.
What I've done is I've asked Deputy Mayor Linda Gibbs to work with the Working Families Party to see what we can do. She has given me an enormous amount of literature. We've talked about it. We've taken a look at San Francisco, and I think the real answer is the devil's in the details. Certainly large businesses, I would support that. No rational person would want to roll back the progress that we've made in improving graduation rates, reducing crime, reducing dropout rates, and improving the test scores of these kids. Joel Klein comes from a city family. His father was a postman. He grew up in public housing. He was the first one in his family to go to college. He understands. Is he tough and hard and making decisions? Yes. And that's why the school system has worked. Could he have better social skills? We all could, I suppose.
As mayor, I would make sure that funds are distributed equally to every school in every district. Actually, that's one of the reforms that I've introduced in the City Council. And let me just add, if I have some time left, it would be my pleasure as mayor to say to Joel Klein, you are fired.
When we look at failing schools across the city of New York, there's a model that was created years ago, something that I was proud to be involved in, something called the Chancellor's District. What we did with schools then was to take those schools, cap the size of the school, create a rigorous curriculum for the students in that school, focus on intensive teacher training within the school, focus on literacy and other things within those schools also. And what we saw, those failing schools improved.
We have made the shelter system much more humane and civilized. That, unfortunately, also means it's more attractive to go to. And so we have what we call our Work Advantage program, where we try to get people in shelter real jobs.
To begin with, is a huge indictment of the mayor's failed policies on homelessness. I think we talk about, I think he was going to reduce homelessness by 2/3. Clearly that hasn't worked.
I don't think you have to walk down any street in New York City without seeing more people homeless. In fact, right across the street from this meeting, there's a homeless person who asked for my help as I was walking by. and I have to tell you, I gave him a few dollars, and I gave him my card, and I said, call my office tomorrow, and I'll see what I can do. I don't believe in taxing people. I really don't. But if anything, the wealthy of this city have to be taxed, and they should be paying their fair share.
The sales tax that the mayor has proposed, that half-cent increase, is regressive. It works against middle-class and working New Yorkers. It works against families in need, and it works against our small businesses across the city of New York. We should increase taxes on those making $500,000 a year or more.
The city could not go and raise personal income taxes again.
I'm not going to stand here and say that I can beat Mike Bloomberg, but I'm going to say our candidacy is the only game in town. This is the type of candidate you need to have against Mike Bloomberg, a complete contrast, the real David against Goliath. My race against Mike Bloomberg would get national attention because it is the average guy against the billionaire, the non-political person against the guy who's got all the influence.
Let me quote somebody who I believe said that rich guys don't always win. One would only need to look at the New York Times poll of a couple of weeks ago that pointed out on the front page that 55% of New Yorkers want somebody different in City Hall. They want change. You know, I'm out there running across the city of New York in all 5 boroughs, campaigning against the failures of the last 8 years, campaigning to make real change across all 5 boroughs. I think we are building what is proudly an incredibly robust grassroots operation, and one the likes of which New York City has never seen.